One of the questions we get most often in our comments section is give more analysis of master painters. So we're doing that with this painting. We have a new environment, as you can see, well, a different environment, just as we did in the previous quick tip. We're in Roger's studio at Salty Live so that we can give you a different kind of view and you will be able to see it much better. So let's get to it. From time to time, we will notice something absolutely ingenious that one of the master painters has done. And the thing is that I don't hear this discussed very much about how Monet actually used color. In addition to using it like the Impressionists did, where they were working with the concept that the juxtaposition of colors together create a new color that the eye sees when you walk away from it, and the eye blends those two colors together and gives you the third color. But Monet, in that frame of mind, did some ingenious things with that concept as well. You know, it's really interesting to me that people talk about Impressionists as if they were in ways other than what they were actually doing. I don't hear enough, not even when they have Impressionist exhibits in some of the galleries and museums, especially the museums, the big ones. I don't hear enough talk about the use of color, the actual use of color that enables us to see what we're seeing. I hear other kinds of more intellectual and philosophical stuff. Well, yeah, that's there too. But if they hadn't used color the way they used it, that wouldn't be there. So I want you to look with me at this Monet painting. You know, he did about 25 or 30 haystack paintings. One thing that, unlike the other Impressionists, one thing Monet did was that he would study a single subject many times. Different points of view, different times of day, different kinds of weather. He was fascinated with what he could see color doing, and he would enhance that color. But in this particular one, there's something ingenious that he's doing with color, and that is with what we think of as the rhythm of color, and that is how individual colors are repeated throughout a painting. So we can see what he's done if we take a look at the color wheel. Now, what I would like for you to notice here about the colors. Let's look generally, first of all. Look at the colors he's got in the sky. Now you see in the sky, you see some blues and you see some oranges. Now I call colors by their hue name as they appear on the wheel. And so rather than to call something brown or beige or tan or anything like that, which doesn't mean anything, I'm going to call it according to where it appears on the wheel. What you notice up here in the sky itself, we see lots of blue, but we see some of this orange too. These oranges are red oranges. And when you look at this in the reel, you'll see those more prominent. There's some yellows up there too, but they're all in the same value. And then he starts doing this thing that I just think is absolutely fantastic and ingenious. As he comes down, he's placing his emphasis on blue in this mountainous shape back here. Although, within that blue, and by the way, this is a blue that leans towards green. It's more a blue-green. So let me change that and start calling it blue-green or greenish-blue. So all the way across there we see, and then we see a little violet entering into it. And then we go all the way across, and we see some little bits of other colors popping out. But the main hue he has across here is blue. Now, as our eyes are coming down, he's continued blue. He repeated the blue family here, but we see more variations. We see the blue leaning towards the green in various places in here, right here. And then we see the blue that leans more towards just where we know blue to be on the wheel. And we see those repeated primarily, very, very distinctly in here. But look at what he's done. He started repeating another color too. We begin to see yellow, greens, and greens repeated within that blue. Now look at the wheel. On the wheel, if we allow the wheel to guide us around it, we see color relationships. One color leads to another. And each of these colors that are beside each other all have something in common in terms of hue. For example, blue-violet, blue, and blue-green all have blue in them. So if we go even further around the wheel, blue leaning towards blue-green, or blue leaning towards green, is beginning to lean this way now. This particular blue begins to lean more towards green. It's got a little bit more green, a little bit of green in it, still blue. Okay. He's added, look here, look at this. You see the yellow-green? Okay, he's moving around the wheel. That's what I want you to notice. Within the blue, he's begun to add the yellow-green and the greens. And we begin to see, we'll see a little bit of the yellows too, but I'm talking about the way our eyes are reading those mixtures. Because if you're there and you go up real, real close and look at it, you're going to see all those colors he's put in there. But if you stand right way back, you'll see it very similar to the way pictures show. Photographs, you have a very poor interpretation. That's the best we've got. All right, now, watch what happens as two things. One, watch what happens as he comes down into the ground itself. He's picked up this green right here, all this yellow-green. He's picked that up, and he begins to let it play a large role in the ground. He's given us that sort of visual gradation that goes from blue-green to yellow-green. And then within that yellow-green, look at throughout this whole thing. And see, it's going this way right here. Look what he's thrown in there. He's thrown his red, oranges, and oranges in there. And we see a few little bits of yellow popping through. So look what he's done. He's just moved right around the wheel. He's gone right across over there and picked up those oranges, red oranges, oranges, yellow oranges, and red oranges. And they're popping in and out in very close value. Their value is very much the same as the values of the greens. They're all in a very close value range. You see all this right in here? And we see it right in there. So what he's done is he's allowed yellow-green and blue-green play kind of a gradated role. Blue-green, and then he pulls the yellow-green in here. The blue and blue-green are still playing a role. And now he's switched it around, and he's letting the yellow-green take over right here. And he's changed partners and allowed the oranges to interweave with the yellow-green in these areas right in there. I just think that is a brilliant use of color, the way he's done that. Now let's look at what he's done in the haystacks. In the center of all this that he's created, he's repeated, look at this, within this red-orange, the red-orange, overall red-orange of the haystack itself. So he's used that red-orange, reds and red-oranges, and also some red-violets. So he's still going around the wheel. He's using these colors at a very dark value, and low saturation. But look, he's placed them there, but he's also let blue is playing a very important role. The blue is the blue-green. It is weaving in and out in that same value range, in that shadow value range, weaving in and out. And then we see it popping in a little bit right in here in the shadow part. You see right in here? And then down here on the cast shadow, we see it very strongly. The blues and blue-greens, just a little bit of just a few, or a minor statement of those reds and red oranges. And then we see that repeated again. He's done the same thing over here. So he's done that ingenious use of color. And he's kept these in the same value range. And there's how you make it work, folks. If you want to paint like an impressionist, in the same value range, that you can use those complementary colors. They are complementary colors. Look at that. Red, orange, blue, green. They are complementary colors, and they're being used in the same value range. When you squint, you'll see it. and giving that a vibrancy, giving that shadow side of that haystack a vibrancy, just as we're getting a vibrancy with this one over here. In fact, we're getting a vibrancy throughout the whole painting by the way he uses that color so ingeniously. So, yeah, the Monet is my favorite among the Impressionists. In fact, continues to be my favorite because I think he, above all the other Impressionists, was really working with that concept of color, exploring it beyond just what the eye could see, and doing things with it that could actually guide the eye throughout the painting. I think maybe you might have fun yourself if you have go out and plein air, or if you have a photograph of an outdoor scene. If you set up a color scheme based on what you're seeing, but then use this sort of broken strokes and color staying in the same value range to interpret what you have, and let it follow some pattern. If you've got some distance, let those fall into those blue patterns, and then find a way to move down from the distant stuff in the trees or whatever down into the grass itself. You can work color like that in such a way that it really makes a vibrant painting and something that can be interpreted in a way that's exciting for the viewer. Be sure and view all of our quick tips. And while you're doing so, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell so you'll always get a notice when we produce a new quick tip, which is every week. And if you have a question, leave it in the comments section and we'll make a quick tip for you. Also, take a trip over to DianneMize.com where I have full-length lessons, downloads, DVDs, lots of other stuff there, some free stuff for you. And while you're there, you can subscribe to the newsletter, and that way you'll always be informed every time we do something new.